Nigeria has been bedeviled by a myriad of socio-economic and political security challenges, which have been the crux of much debate, with the pendulum swinging from both internal to external handlings of the country's interests. However, the debate about the impact of these problems on the country's image climate is still ongoing. Recall, Nigeria has made several attempts at rebranding the nation and improving the image with slogans like Nigeria, Good People, Great Nation, launched in 2009 by the then Minister of Information, late Dr. Dora Akinyuli. Then Change Begins With Me, launched in 2016 by President Muhammadu Buhari. But how much of an impact have all these attempts had on the country and the image of Nigeria as well? Joining us to discuss this is UK Solicitor Olufemi Aino. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
How much of an impact has all of this slogan been on Nigeria since 2009 up till date?
Well, it's one thing to talk the talk, and it's one thing to do the act. And what I'm going to say is that it has no meaningful impact whatsoever, taking account of the recent events. And if anybody wants to rebrand Nigeria, that rebranding needs to start from home first.
Can we actually rebrand Nigeria?
Sorry?
Can we actually rebrand Nigeria?
Well, that's $1 million question. I wish I can have a direct answer to that.
You'll be richer.
But the only thing we can do is to try as much as possible and make efforts. And that will involve using, you have the National Orientation Agency, and at the same time, government must live up to expectation, meet the yearnings of the people, and give people the opportunity to challenge the acts of powerful government. And it's not limited to that. Government must also respect domestic law, respect court order, respect international law and international institutions. And also you need to create a platform whereby when citizens are aggrieved, there is some sort of an ombudsman scheme whereby they can go in, ventilate their hunger, and they get a resolution. And what I'm trying to say, in essence, is that we need to try as much as possible. You have a very effective legal system whereby people can get justice promptly and things don't get protracted unnecessarily. And my own concern also is this issue about human rights. If you want to rebrand Nigeria, you need to respect the right of citizens, and government must respect the right of citizens, and citizens must reciprocate by obeying the law of the land. But if you don't do that, if you don't strengthen institutions, if you don't reform your police force, and it's not even limited to that. One thing which is also very, very important, the level of depravity in this country is something we need to look at seriously. Youth unemployment, why are people migrating and they don't even see their future in Nigeria? I've been in the country in the last 4 weeks, and what I experienced, even those you think are living well because they have a job, there is still something that tells them that, look, the future is uncertain. And what they intend to do is to leave the country. And those are the things. And I must say to you, if you want to, you can come up with any slogan you like. You can even say Nigeria, good people, the most honest people in the world, and what have you. But the most important is that people are watching. And people can take an informed opinion. Take, for instance, look at the recent happenings, SARS and what have you, police brutality and what have you. By the time the international media, they are projecting such an image, people will not have a good impression of your country, irrespective of any slogan you wish to portray. So therefore, what I'm saying is that it is very important. We go back to the drawing board, find out what is wrong. You can disband SARS, you can come up with another one, but that's not the issue. The issue is that training is very, very important. Competence demands constant attention. Are the people we put in position of authority, are they really competent? Or is just because they've been there for years? And nepotism is another thing. Opportunity, you see, you need to give your citizens opportunity, and that opportunity must cut across across the board. It doesn't have to be because of gender or because of who you know. You know, all this myriad of problems, we need to address them domestically before we talk about rebranding Nigeria.
In addressing them domestically, it seems like the presidency is overwhelmed. I'm not talking about the human being, excuse me.
Yes,
I'm talking about the office itself,
yes.
the institution.
Yes.
It's overwhelmed by a lot of problems.
Yes.
Is there a need to fine-tune and reform what we need to do?
Yes, I take your point, but I wish you could take mine. Even if you can fine-tune from today to tomorrow, at the same time, if you don't get the right people in position of power, you will have problem, and you can't separate the two. I do agree with you that maybe the institution is too powerful. The only way we can address that, we have a document that regulates the relationship between me and you, and between the two of us and the government, which is called the Constitution. We need to look at that Constitution as well. And my problem is that, look, Nigeria has tried all forms of government. We've tried the parliamentary system during the Tafawa Balewa era. We are now in a presidential system. Yeah. People are still complaining. So what sort of government are we going to have that will meet the yearnings of the people? That is the fundamental issue. And the only way we can address that fundamental issue is to make sure you have a vibrant legislature. At the same time, people need to sit down, participate, and come up with the sort of constitution that will meet the yearnings of the people. Until we do that, we will just be going around the circle and we may end up nowhere.
Okay, so looking at the aftermath of, excuse me, of NSAS and everything that's happened this year, how do you think the international communities view Nigeria right now?
No, they don't view Nigeria very well with the sort of brutality and what happened on the 28th of October at Lekki and what have you. You see, the point is this. No, citizen, the right to protest has a limitation. I do agree, and I could understand where the government is coming from. Citizens must be able to protest. Protest is a way of citizens telling the government we are not happy with what you're going to do. But you need to create a parity in the sense that the right of the protesters and the right of ordinary citizens. The right of ordinary citizens to go about their daily duties. No court in the land will tell you that, look, we are going to stop you from going on a protest. What the judge can do is to create a parity that, okay, now, for an example, you have the Lekki toll gate. Yeah. Protesters are there. Now, at that Lekki toll gate, you may have about 6 entry points. 12 entry points. Then you can say, look, if you want to protest, we are happy for you to block 6. But for ordinary citizens who want to go about their daily duties, let them be able to use the remaining 6 points.
Will that create an impact, or will that send home the message?
Well, it will send them the message one way or the other, because number one, as the citizen government officials are passing through those available 6 entry points, they are seeing their placard, they are seeing people shouting.
Is it not beyond just seeing the placard, doing something about it?
Yes, doing something. The protest is about doing something.
So the protest is to be handled in a particular section, and leaving other people to take a different section entirely. How impactful will the protest be?
No. It will be very impactful in the sense that, number one, you don't want protesters to go on the streets and make it difficult for people to live their daily normal life. Okay. Because don't forget, what you are protesting upon, some people may not believe in it.
True.
And that is the reality of the situation. And the only way you can do it is to make sure that those who want to protest, they have their own opportunity to protest. Those who don't support you, just want to go about their daily life, they have the whole opportunity too. So you need to create that parity. But by the time you start going on police brutality, shooting and killing, you see, you are not portraying a good image. Let me even tell you, there was a London riot. Yeah. At the same time, there was a protest regarding council tax during the Thatcher regime and what have you. Did they kill people? Nobody died. But the people were able to protest. And up to today, despite the protest, they are still paying the council tax. You see, that is the point. But because some of these protesters, they just want to send a message across that we are not happy. You cannot continue this way. And the very good government, what you need to do is to listen. Create an avenue. And I must say this to you. Look at what is going on now? There's a judicial panel. People are going there, lodging complaints. Yeah. They are asking questions. You see, those sort of platforms will help. Although the facts of what happened at Lekki is disputed one way or the other. But I hope in the long run, the judicial panel will come with something that will be acceptable. And they must try as much as possible to make sure that if you are involved, those who are involved or those behind all these allegations about killing and what have you, they are dealt with severely. That is how we can portray Nigeria image that, look, we have a country, and we have a country that can deal with people if you don't toe the line. That is the way to go.
Is the UK sanction the appropriate way as well?
Look, let me just tell you this. There is the sanction. What is the purpose of the sanction? It's just to make the government to respect the rights of their citizens. That is what the United Kingdom is discussing as we speak. Under the old regime, you have what is called the Magnitsky Act. And that one can come up with what is called like a generalized sanction. Take, for instance, if the American or the United Kingdom say nobody should buy Nigeria oil, that's not a good sanction, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect me, it's going to affect you, and it's going to affect the ordinary citizens you are trying to protect. And what nations are doing now is, rather than going on a generalized sanction, they are doing what is called individualized sanction. Take, for instance, in United Kingdom, we have the Global Human Rights Sanction regulation that came into effect on the 6th of July. This is to target individuals. And also, even apart from that regulation, if you look at the ICC, for instance, you will recall that during the end protest, some people are saying we are going to petition the ICC. You see, it's quite disturbing in a way, because the ICC only has jurisdiction over countries that signed the 1998 treaty. And you know, as I do, that some countries don't even believe in the ICC, including the United States of America. And there is also the allegation against ICC that they only target African leaders. They don't go for world leaders, those who engage in one brutality or killing or the other. Let's not even, otherwise we will open a Pandora box. Let's not go there. So, but leaving that aside, there's a 1953 Geneva Convention which undermines human rights law, in which case, even if you live in Congo and you violate the rights of citizens there and you escape to France, they can still pin you down and bring you to justice. And the rationale behind that is that it is not possible for you to deny your citizens' rights in your country, and then you escape to another country to go and enjoy that liberty, which you deny your citizen. And take, for instance, in the issue like torture. Torture has no jurisdiction. If you torture people in Congo, you torture them in Casablanca or what have you, and you escape to USA, for instance. If I meet you in a restaurant, and that you are the one who tortured me during the protest or what have you, then I can get the police to arrest you, and they will deal with you. Yeah, exactly. And that is the reason why they are doing that now, is to tell individuals that there is no hiding place. You cannot, in your country, violate the right of your citizen and come to our own country to hide. And what happened on the 23rd of November in UK Parliament was a debate based on a petition from 220,000 people, because you need 100,000 in order to secure a debate in Parliament. And the people e-petition that, look, there's a violation of human rights, killings, and what have you going on in Nigeria. And the issue was debated one way or the other. And what the Nigerian government is saying is that, look, though you have the right to debate the issues, but you cannot tell us how to run our country and what have you. But in the long run, it may well be there will be one sanction or the other, but that sanction will target individuals. And the only way you can do that is either you freeze their account, and at the same time, or you impose what is called a visa ban, which they've been talking about. But all those things are some legal issue, because, number one, if these people have not been convicted in their country, can you do that? And number two, you need to give them an opportunity to give their own version of the story, whether convincing or not convincing, before you deal with them. So what the message the international community is sending across is that you cannot violate your citizen rights in your country and
move to
escape to
another
another country and enjoy the liberty you are denying your citizens.
All right, thank you very much, Olufemi Aina, for talking to us at this point.
Yes, thank you for having me.